Welcome, everyone, to our weekly podcast of the Football Tailgaters. In here, we talk everything about the NFL. With me today, I have Yams, our Jets fan, Andy, our unbiased NFL fan, and myself, Aaron, a Cowboys fan. We got multiple topics to go and talk about, multiple reports. There's a lot going on in the NFL right now in this beginning of the offseason. So we're gonna let me go over just the quick topics here. What team should trade up for the first pick in the draft? Now that the Chicago Bears, the reports came out with them willing to give away that first round pick for a trade. So we got that. We got Aaron Rodgers being a problematic quarterback. Is he really? Is he not? What team will Jalen Ramsey go to after the Rams are looking to trade him? And then also reports of Russell Wilson wanted Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll and the GM to be fired. We'll see, if we believe this or not, as well as the Cowboys, if they should draft a QB to replace Dak Prescott. Washington Commanders owner Daniel Snyder not allowing Jeff Bezos to buy the team. Should Miami Dolphins move on from Tua? And lastly, Carson Wentz was released. Will he get another chance elsewhere? So let's start with our first topic today. We got, reports that came out that the Chicago Bears are shopping their number one overall pick of the draft here. They get possibly a chance to draft. There's a lot of talent in the QB area for this draft. A lot of options. And they're shopping the first overall pick in this draft. What team should trade up for the first overall pick in the draft, guys? What do you guys think?
It's for somebody to come up and get that first overall pick. There's a number of teams that I'm looking at here that should trade up to get picked, but specifically the ones that I am targeting is the Colts and the Houston Texans. They're on the top 5. So there are quarterbacks that are that it's not just Bryce Young to be available here, like Levis and CJ Stroud. And it's mostly if any of those two teams really, really think, no doubt, that Bryce Young is the first overall pick, then go ahead and get for him. But if you can wait, don't trade up for him. Honestly, it's not worth it. I don't think Bryce Young is the main guy to do it, but I mean, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with you. The number one team that I think that comes off right from the top of my head is the Colts to trade up with the Bears. And it makes sense for the Bears to trade away from that number one pick. That way they can grow their team. You mentioned before the podcast started, Andy, that they lost 10 straight. I guess I was just too into the NFL season to realize it, but damn.
No, I was also considering the Colts, and I think that's a great option as well. But why not look at some other teams like the Raiders, that they have the whole situation that they just got rid of Derek Carr? They should be very, very interested and competing just as hard as the Colts, because the Raiders have a good team, and they got the number one best receiver in the league, Devontae Adams. They got the situation with Josh Jacobs, that's up in the air, and they also got Darren Waller, but he's kind of injury prone, so it's kind of whatever. And they also got Hunter Renfrow, and the defense isn't that bad.
Well, just said though, they have a good team. Would you really like, if you're a fan of the Raiders or any team that's ready to go, to draft a rookie and to develop a rookie and wait, and then Devontae Adams is going to need a new contract, Renfro's going to want a new contract. So when you have a ready team, in my opinion, you should start getting somebody that knows how to play the position and not get a rookie.
So yes and no, depending on how they see these QBs, because some teams may think these are first-year quarterbacks that they should start immediately. Right?
That's a good point.
You can still develop them.
True, but I wouldn't personally draft go ahead and trade up for the first overall pick unless there's a generational type of quarterback or player out there.
I wish people could stop saying that.
Well, honest, because there isn't much. There isn't any. The last one that I saw personally was Andrew Luck.
Joe Burrow.
A lot of people. No, because that guy surprised me.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
No, but he surprised me.
That's the thing. You cannot say, unless it's an absolute person that's going to hit the floor running.
Well, because it's a gamble. If we look at it, it's a gamble.
It's a hard, you can't say, this is the guy. I mean, you have to take the chance too, like Ohio did.
Yeah, for sure.
Joe Burrow.
Well, a lot of people thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to be that generation, the next generation talent. Can you guys completely agree that he is that generational
That's the gamble.
talent?
You won't know until you risk it. Sometimes you have to make those risks, and for some it works out, and for some it doesn't.
Agreed. Majority of the times it doesn't work out. And for quarterbacks to get drafted so early, they're getting drafted to trash teams. So it also takes longer to build a team for that quarterback to flourish. Aside from Joe Burrow, who obviously proved everyone wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
No,
yeah, for sure.
For sure, but...
And Andrew Luck.
But Joe Burrow... Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati didn't even trade that pick because they knew they needed a quarterback, and that's the guy that we saw win a championship with LSU. So yeah, but I don't think he was looked at as a tremendous big time talent. Andrew Luck, he was looked at as a big time generational talent in Stanford. Yeah. So that's my only thing. When you're a gambler, you try to go with sometimes with safe picks. That's why when you go into the money line and you bet the winning team, the one that's favorite. That's why I believe there's a statistic out there that you win. Those are 66% compared to the unfavored team. So that's why you try to gamble as
safe as possible, right?
As possible.
And then you just said 66% on the money line for a team that's favorite. It's 66%.
It's better than 40 or 30.
That's not.
Or 36% actually.
You're asking me to gamble my team's
34.
future on 66%. That's hard to do.
What's better than 34%? And that's my whole thing. If you're going to give me 66% besides 34%, then I'm going to take 66% and be just safer and just wait for that generational talent. And in my opinion, Bryce Young is not the guy. But
I think you're wrong. I think he might be. At the end of the day, none of us know. And
they didn't even go into the championship for the college. They weren't even in the playoffs. I'm just saying. That team, he should have taken the Alabama team. He could have taken them further.
Now, let me interrupt you guys real quick. Why not the Texans? They're the ones who actually really, really need a quarterback as well. And they got the number 2 overall, but why not secure the 1st overall for a guarantee picking who they want?
Well, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. I said the Texans or the Colts are the only ones that I see trading up.
I can see the Houston trading up. That's a really good choice for them. They're already loaded up with the picks that they got from Deshaun Watson, right, from the trade.
Yeah.
So they have the draft or the picks to do so, move from 1 to 2. Yeah, I could definitely see the Houston Texans doing it.
So you guys don't think it would be a dumb move at all to secure the number 1?
I would. For me,
I don't think it's a dumb move, no.
For me, it is. I wouldn't. After none of these quarterbacks, I say, you have to, throw everything at it so you can pick this guy. Once Chicago, whoever picks, whatever team is going to be picking 1st overall, just get the next guy up, C.J. Stroud or Levis or Richardson from Florida.
Yeah, I see your point because there's not and I don't think there'll ever be, in my opinion, there's not a clear-cut generational quarterback prospect. The last time I heard was Aaron.
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. Thank you.
Well, just for you guys, I would just keep an eye out for the next year's quarterback prospects for the next year's draft, because I see the kid from Carolina, Drake May. So maybe he might be that type of talent, but I have to see this next football season for the college, and he might be the next guy. But I'm really, really early on that.
Now let's move on over and talk about a veteran quarterback here. We got Aaron Rodgers. He's finally back from his retreat, saying he was going to take the retreat to think about his future, to see what's going to go on. Now, the Green Bay Packers seem like they may consider trading him away because the Packers are in a tough situation with Aaron Rodgers. He's caused a lot of problems, you could say, and the Packers have Jordan Love as the backup who knows if he'll take over the team. So they're in a weird spot. So Aaron Rodgers, is he a problematic quarterback? What do you guys think?
We mentioned this in the last podcast, it's definitely a problem. It's a problem there. The Packers have a problem with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers has a problem with the Packers. He is probably a toxic personality. At this point, you're a disgruntled employee with your employer, and he just got sick of it and decided to just slack it and not practice with the newbies this year. So it's a little bit of a toxic situation right now.
The problem is that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league and in the NFL history. So it's those tough situations when you're Green Bay that it is what it is. You just have to wait for his decision. Even if you don't like the guy or whatever, he still gives you the best chance to win. If he does, if Green Bay says no to him and we don't want you here, trust me, everybody's gonna be calling him, and he knows that. So you can say that's problematic, but I like that problem. If I'm trying to get him, honestly, if I get him, he comes to my team. He's the best guy.
Yeah, now if you're the Packers, you hate the situation right now. And depending on the scenario, you might have a team that cave in like the Browns did with Watson. Rodgers could be a problem in another team. Who knows what we can see with him being in another team, what he'll create in that team. Is he going to be toxic there? Is he more of a selfish? Are we going to see him being more selfish now that he's growing older? He is getting paid a lot of money. So we got to see a team who's willing to give up that cap space for him. I don't think there's a lot of teams to do that.
I don't think he will continue to be, so on what you said, selfish, because I think he is very upset. It's kind of what I said, disgruntled. He's a disgruntled employee in how the Packers treated him, and it's kind of a two-way street. They both have to respect each other, and they're not respecting each other. So, I mean, yeah, it's a big looming question mark. Will he continue to not practice with the newbies with another team as he did with Green Bay? Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't think so. I don't think he'll continue his toxic ways that he did with Green Bay with a new employer or team.
Maybe.
Did you guys see the room that he was in? All pitch black?
No.
One like 400 feet.
Well, the one that we saw,
it was his.
It was the same one?
Right.
Really?
Exactly the same.
So just, and I'll put on an Instagram and these like pictures of it. But basically, it's a really small room. You have a little tiny space to like meditate. You do have a bathtub to get into water, but it's all pitch dark. You have a small bed, and it's all pitch black. They give you food, but in the darkness, and I think like sandwich and apple, something like that. And you just have to be there for 5 days. So I would just go crazy, but I mean, to each his own.
I would go crazy too. I think I can only do maybe 24 hours of that, and half of that is me sleeping. And I don't know.
Maybe he was meditating.
It's pitch black. You can't see anything. They deliver your food through like a little hole, and you're biting into it.
That's how serious he takes his decision here.
I wonder if he thinks he's meditating, but he's actually sleeping.
Well, we'll see what he does now with his decision. Of course, it is a trade situation here because he is under contract. Now, I assure you that the Packers really do want to get rid of him because they don't want the situation they're in right now because it's just a very awkward situation. So let's go and talk about the Los Angeles Rams. We got Jalen Ramsey, who is now the Rams. They're shopping him. They're looking to trade him, and we're going to talk about right now what team will Jalen Ramsey go to.
Oh, he is one of the top 5 corners. I wouldn't give too much for him, honestly, but I don't mind him if he goes to a team that's like already like defense ready. And just because I guess I'm going to be a little biased with you guys, even though I'm unbiased, but I do see him with the Jets being this other side with Sauce Gardner. And that would pick up that team big time, a veteran cornerback. But I also see him with the Cowboys, too, because that's on the other side with Trayvon Diggs. Make that defense with Quinn and just level it up. So I see those two guys those two teams be a great spot for him.
Oh, wow, the Jets. The first thing that kind of came to my mind, Miami Dolphins.
Why? Because Byron Jones left. Mm-hmm. They need to replace him. I mean, yeah, that's a good place too as well.
They have also Xavier Howard, so I think it might be a good duo there. But of course, I would love him at the Jets. Come on, are you kidding me? With Sauce Gardner, that would be great.
I would like to see him with the Cowboys, honestly. I mean, it would be great. Will it happen? Probably not, because of a certain owner that the Cowboys have right here. So I don't see him with the Cowboys. I would love for him to be there. But why not the Bengals to toughen up their defense? They struggled in the playoffs,
Very
right?
true. Very true. He can be that key piece in all of these like championship type of teams that we looked at last year.
For sure.
To get him into that next level. I mean, he did help the Rams go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And you usually see NFC players go to AFC because it's like you're out of my conference, so like it's no issue. That's usually how it goes, not all the time, but it's the likely piece if the Rams do care about that, right? Because they don't want to throw more competition into it because they could possibly still be contenders. Be in the playoff run this next season. So I see him going with the Bengals. That'll be pretty cool. If he goes to the Bengals, I think Cincinnati will give a tough battle to the Chiefs for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I also see them going. He also has a chance to go to the Vikings. They need a lot of cornerback help.
Oh yeah,
true.
for sure. After a terrible season
Right.
like that, yeah. Alrighty. So what about Andy? You take this one over with Russell Wilson since you have high praise for him.
Man, my praise is like in limbo since last year, since he got traded to Denver. Honestly, I'm still with the guy. I'm going to give him last year off, but I don't like this report that came out from Seattle, like from the team. Honestly, Seattle Seahawks, like, move on. You traded him, like, move on. Why are you putting this out there? Honestly, there's no thing good that come from these types of reports. Honestly, it's just a continuous battle between Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson. I don't believe it. Because they, like Russell Wilson said, it's not true. They drafted him. He even said Coach Pete Carroll was like a father to him. I just don't believe it. But I mean, that's up to the public to decide.
Hell no. No, I believe the car. So deny. That's what Russell Wilson is doing right now. I think it's BS. Don't tell me he didn't get Hackett fired.
I think the whole media and everybody looking at the situation got Hackett fired. I think Hackett got himself fired. He got an assistant head coach.
It's pure BS. I don't believe anything he says. I think he's coming out as Mr. Unlimited and not Russell Wilson.
I was with
if you look at the tape,
said,
though, a lot of the game questioning like decisions were because of Hackett. This is a head coach issue.
I was with you until you said Hackett.
And the way he played? Come on, you can't excuse that. Look, did anyone see that video where he has an alter ego and it's Mr. Unlimited?
I mean, yeah, we've seen it.
Aaron, you're familiar with this?
Yes.
Okay. He says on there, who does he go there for advice? People say it's Pete Carroll. He says that it's Pete Carroll, but no, Pete Carroll, I love you, but you're not the person I go. I go to, quote unquote, his alter ego, Mr. Unlimited. Mr. Unlimited is the reason Hackett is fired. It's also a lie. He's denying this whole report because he's been trashed. Also, let's move on from this. I agree. Let's move on from the Russell Wilson. Why don't you pay attention more to the person that raped or sexually accused 40 women? Like, that should be all over the news still, but not Russell Wilson just doing little stupid decisions. But anyways,
that was hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because they're focusing on like the smallest
it's
problems.
True though.
Yeah, I'm with you that they shouldn't be putting out these types of reports. Like, you move on with it. But
and he steals from his organization.
I mean, no, I don't say that's if he is lying and stealing. That's another report that he has a foundation organization and he like keeps like 60 cents out of each dollar or something like that. That's still messed up. If that's true, that's still messed up. I don't know anything about the business. I know how much he needs to like grow the foundation or whatever, the numbers or anything
Some
like that.
Some charities are like that though.
There's a lot of charities are like that, but I still don't excuse them from it. But still, it's I that's another thing that we're just trying to look for how much more we can look into him bashing this guy.
Yeah, of course. Like, let him be already. Like, let's move on. Okay, maybe he is a horrible human being. There's a ton of them out there.
But it's not him. It's Mr. Unlimited.
Well,
so is this like something he kind of built an ego on through all like the experience and eventually the Super Bowl win and stuff like that? Is this like an ego thing for sure?
Yeah, he's confirmed it himself. Not only that, what was it? The one that he got to get fired? What's his name? Pete Carroll and the GM.
Mm-hmm. The GM.
The other report came out where, what was it? The player saying he had his own office in the second floor or the first floor where all the GM and corporate offices, and that's kind of divided the team, or not divided the team, but then made him feel that he was getting the extra attention or special treatment.
I'm surprised. I mean, I guess everybody has different opinions about this, but me personally, I'm really surprised that quarterbacks don't have their own office to look into things. If they're the player that's supposed to be the first guy in and the last one out, why not have an office? It's a building.
Well, the problem you have with that, though, is you can baby them and then they start becoming spoiled, right? You see this in other sports, too, but if we're focusing on the NFL, you can see this. If you pay them, they're gonna sometimes just settle for just whatever. They're not gonna give their 100% because they're like, I got paid already, or they.
Then that's a little bit of a
contradiction. They think they're great.
Okay, but you know what I say to that? That's a little bit of contradiction of how the media tries to portray quarterbacks. They want a quarterback to be the leader of the team and this and that, but you can't have them make some
No, but they gotta
decisions
be
because
mature,
it's too much
though.
and you're becoming a baby. Like if you're
No. I'm saying like because they're given basically the keys to the team. They're like, you do whatever you okay. You want to do this? Let's do that. You want to get rid of this wide receiver? Let's do it. All right. You want to get the coach fired? Okay, awesome. You're our guy. There's a limit. Because you, as a responsible owner or GM, you have to be careful with how you deal with these players, and you have to really get to know them.
Here's the last thing.
I definitely agree. Before you put your last note, I definitely agree with that because you're treating someone so special, and it starts to show favoritism when he should be a leadership for the team downstairs, wherever they're at. They should be together, and he should be motivating them from there. If Tom Brady didn't have his own room, I don't think Russell Wilson should.
Maybe Tom Brady doesn't even want his own room.
Exactly. Why doesn't he want it? That's
why
a
does
good
everybody
question.
have to be like Tom Brady though?
No, but why do you need to be treated so special?
No. Okay, here's my last thoughts about all this. The reason that Russell Wilson supposedly was getting really frustrated in Seattle is because he saw Tom Brady, if we're speaking about him, Tom Brady go from the Patriots to Tampa Bay, and they were having free conversations, open conversations, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady of what Tom Brady wanted and what players they wanted. They got Gronk because Tom Brady wanted Gronk there. AB went there because that's what he wanted. They listened to him, and that's what Wilson actually wanted. They wanted a team to listen to him, so he didn't feel valued, and he was being sacked completely all the time. So he's like, if you're not going to be listening to me or have my input on things, then I want out. I want a team that wants to listen to me.
So he went out, went to the Broncos, got a team that listens to him. He had his own private office. They came out a year later that he had his own private office, and he still continued to get sacked. What's changed?
Okay, well, this is a team sport, though. We saw Tom Brady get sacked.
Yeah, he's still getting sacked. He's still playing lousy like he did in Seattle. I mean, we can end it there if you like.
Why don't we get more controversial here and talk about another big-time quarterback here with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys after a tough loss against the 49ers in the playoffs. Dak Prescott led in the league in interceptions. Should the Cowboys move on from Dak Prescott? What do you guys think?
I said yes since the very beginning. The question is you want to ask yourself, and maybe you want to ask yourself, Aaron, is Dak Prescott the true answer at the quarterback long term? Can this man take you to the Super Bowl? They haven't been to the Super Bowl, since 1995? If your answer is maybe, or yes, or no, then it's time to move on.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I think we've seen enough from him, and we should, or the team should definitely move on from him, especially with the amount of money they're paying him to be leading the league in interceptions. It's a tough thing to even think about, especially because Jerry Jones is known to really form these bonding relationships with the players, which is a weakness, in my opinion, as an owner. Yeah, it can look good on like the base of it, like just overlooking it without looking too deep into the details. Oh wow, that's amazing. He really cares about his players. No, but then it causes issues here, and we're seeing a problem with Dak Prescott having so many years with a team that was more than capable of going to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say winning, but at least going to.
Well, that goes with the team's fault, though. That's the team's fault for putting him in that position. I've said it time after time. That's not Dak Prescott's fault. He knows like what he can do, and that's the coach's fault and the GM's fault for not putting the type of plays that he needs to have in order to be successful. Putting him as a pocket passer is not going to work. We've been seeing it year after year, and they know the Cowboys. I mean, if you see their history, they sort of did the same thing with Tony Romo, and that's my situation with Dak Prescott's role here. So for me, I think that they should actually, they have to keep him this year, but they should draft a quarterback. Supposedly there are reports that they're looking at Hooker from Tennessee, and I wouldn't mind if they drafted him, honestly, because that's going to build some pressure for Dak Prescott. And if they really want to move on from him, then just have a quarterback there and just start developing him. But just be very careful, because Hooker is also another type of quarterback that's not going to be a pocket passer. Don't do the thing over and over. He was given
one of the best defenses in the league, though, and he didn't have horrible weapons. Yes, he had a shaky O-line, right?
Oh,
but
the Cowboys
game plan obviously wasn't there.
No, but the Cowboys could have helped them out offensively. Who were the wide receivers besides Lamb? And do you really consider Lamb as a top overall wide receiver?
Yes. He can be for sure.
Well, he's not top 5 for sure. He's not top 5. I mean, maybe in the end of the top 10, maybe I would think that he could be in the top 10. Then that's what I'm saying. He needed more help, and they took off Cooper, and look how low they landed without Cooper.
Oh, okay, fine. This is a whole organization issue. The whole team's a mess then, because if not even the coaches themselves can fix a problem, then where do you fix it if there's so many holes then, right? They got rid of Kellen Moore. That's a start, right? Now, what happens if Kellen Moore wasn't the issue? What if they're still just as bad? What if they still choke in the wild card round? Then whose fault is it? Mike McCarthy. Okay, then it's get rid of Mike McCarthy. Find someone else. Get a coach. All right, that coach is there, and then it's not his fault. Who is it?
The Dallas Cowboys are the Chili's.
He has to be accountable. And you look, especially the star, the America's team, looking for the face of the franchise. Dak Prescott is not the face of the franchise. He's a great leader, but he's not a star quarterback. He's a system quarterback that needs to be in a good position, and he will cost you games. And clearly, the Cowboys don't know that, and if they don't learn their lesson, eventually they just have to find someone that can just carry them their way.
Maybe the Cowboys should go back
to
to history and what they've done right. What have they done right? They drafted Troy Aikman in the first round.
Oh, but that's when it was Jimmy Johnson.
And they won Super Bowls. Maybe they should just go back and say maybe we should draft a quarterback in the first round. The team is good enough.
Yeah,
you just need a good quarterback. And I'm not saying Dak can't do it. He's proven to be a good leader, like Aaron says, but he has proven also to choke.
That Cowboys team you were just talking about is a Hall of Fame coach. Mike McCarthy is not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, you can't.
Was he a Hall of Famer at the time?
He actually went to the Super Bowl in his 3rd year
with the Cowboys.
Yeah, and then
and
again, and then went again on the following year, and then had a beef with Jerry Jones and got let go or something like that, and got let go.
Is he a Hall of Famer because of what he did with the Cowboys?
Yeah, and then he took Miami to the playoffs.
1,000%.
After the Cowboys
didn't go to the Super Bowl.
I mean, it has to happen at some point. But what happened is Troy Aikman was there. He was a first-round pick. And maybe that's what this team needs, is start doing what they did in the past, kind of go back in history, and stop drafting these quarterbacks in the 4th round or undrafted, and get yourself a quarterback. You have Lamb. Maybe he's not top 10, but he's good enough.
In the position they're in, they're not in the position to get a top talented quarterback.
They can if they trade Prescott. There's teams that need him.
Well, I mean,
I think that's another topic.
It's a whole nother thing,
we can say
because we have to see if teams are even capable of giving up the 1st round pick, right? That's a whole can of worms to go over. But
let me see let me say my last soliloquy for the Dallas Cowboys, as I see them as the Chili's restaurant of America. People like to go to Chili's. People have enjoyed it for many years. They're not going to win awards for their great food and their their amazing ambiance or whatever. But you still like going. You still like their food. Sometimes they bring up something new that people just like about, like their blossom onion rings things, or their margaritas, or whatever you like there. But at the end, they're not going to win any awards. But it's always going to be a good place to go eat. That's what the Cowboys are.
So you're telling Dak is a good dinner?
It's an entertaining dinner. They're in Sunday Night Football. They're in Monday Night Football. Everybody wants to watch the Cowboys, a game. Even if you like them or you hate them, you still watch them because it's like the Chili's, a good place to be.
I would describe them more like a Honda, a car that just takes you from A to B.
No, that's a boring thing. That's more like
It takes you from A to B. You get to your playoffs. It gets you to what you're trying to do, but you can't win a race with a Honda.
No, that's like Seattle Seahawks. They're there at the playoffs most of the time, yeah. But it's not like let's put them on all the time on the main channels or the main primetime times.
Oh, now you're going different with the prime times.
We can move on.
In that same division, the Washington Commanders here, we're going to talk about them now. With the owner, Daniel Snyder, there was reports, Andy, here that you're saying that Jeff Bezos was in the running to buy the team, but there's a chance he might get blocked. Now, I was Googling it right now, and they're saying it's not ultra reliable. This is not from main sources like CBS and stuff like that. But a couple 10 hours ago, it says that Jeff Bezos is not blocked from bidding.
Well, that's interesting. Well,
but let's go off of what was
reported. Yeah. So
yes,
Commanders owner Snyder is not allowing Jeff Bezos to buy the Washington Commanders. That they are having like a silent auction, I believe. And Snyder said, "I do not want Jeff Bezos." And the reason is because Jeff Bezos is the owner of the Washington Times, and they're the ones that put up the articles of the toxicity that was happening within the Commanders. So it's mostly the Washington Times fault, owned by Jeff Bezos, of the reason that Snyder has to sell the team. Because if it was up to Snyder, he would keep the team, but that's the reason why. Now, what do you guys think?
And the owners, they're concerned about Daniel Snyder keeping the team, which is what they don't want. And I think that's kind of troubling because he's picking and choosing. And I don't know the reason why, right? You were saying like, he owns, what was it, the Washington Times?
Yeah.
Washington Post.
The Washington Post.
Washington Post, sorry. You were going to say something, Ams?
No. Well, I mean, I can if you want me to. Yeah, I'm not saying that Snyder's is a good man or a bad man. From what I read on the Washington Post, if it's true, he seems to be not a decent human being. But screw Bezos for leaking such information for your own benefit, knowing that the NFL was going to force Snyder to sell the team only for you to want to buy it. Screw Bezos.
I also saw that Tillman Fertitta, he's the owner of the Houston Rockets. He's in the run for he's bidding for it.
Oh, that's true. I did read that.
For more than $5.5 billion. Right now, I think, who is it? It was was it someone was ahead. Someone was like the one offering the most was $6.3 billion, but it's also as well Philadelphia 76ers right here. Owner Josh Harris has been considered the front runner. Now, I don't know how much Jeff Bezos has what's his bid on it, but I think it's worrisome that Snyder wants $7 billion and he's being kind of like maybe he doesn't want to give away the team. It's very concerning to see here, and it just kind of sucks. It's like this whole billionaire situation, and we see Bezos, he is the owner of many things that are huge right now, Amazon, the obvious, and stuff like that. It's just very controversial stuff that I think I'm not fully informed of, but I know it's just Daniel Snyder is bad, and he should really just step down and just take whatever money. But obviously, he's not going to do that. He seems pretty picky about it.
Yeah, I'm sort of agree with Jans in a certain way, but not completely. And the reason is because that Commanders team has been a toxic place for many, many years, according to reports. And supposedly there's some people out there that can all support that has been a toxic place, like women being mistreated and so on and so forth. And also that stadium that the owner has for many years, and it's falling apart, and he doesn't upgrade it for the people. I'm afraid that thing is going to collapse one day. But anyways, hopefully
it has
not.
Already.
Well, little by little.
Yeah, there's videos on it of the railing.
Of the railings falling,
collapsing.
Imagine if it would have hurt Jalen Hurts, honestly, that time when the fans were falling.
Oh, man.
That would have been horrible.
Maybe.
No, we're not going to start with conspiracies. But anyhow, because it's Jeff Bezos, I don't like him if he was the owner of the Washington Commanders. And it's because he's the owner of Amazon. And we've seen so many videos out there of how employees are mistreated and not taken care of, and they've been having strikes. So if it was a better owner, then I'll be like, yeah, sure. Even though he brought up that toxicity from from the Washington Post, no problem. But because it's such a toxic place, I'm fine with him that he's gonna be gone. But it is what it is.
It'd be nice to just have an owner of a sports team already to take over. As a Washington Commander fan, I'd be more comfortable with that. And who knows? I mean, I don't know what their opinion is on Jeff Bezos.
Why not Donald Trump?
Okay, that was out of left field, but I don't think he would even be interested in that.
Look, he was interested in the Buffalo Bills at one point. He has some beef with the NFL.
But when was that?
Oof, early 90s?
Yeah, there's no way. Right now, he hates them. He hates the NFL. No, it's going to be a team, or it's going to be an owner that already owns a sports team. That's how I think it's going to go. I don't think Jeff Bezos is going to take over. If he does, that's going to suck. I think that's the worst case scenario for this team. Maybe I'm wrong. Why don't we talk now about, let's go into the team of the Washington Commanders. Carson Wentz here. So it just got announced that Carson Wentz was released. Well, surprise, surprise. I kind of figured. Andy, you had other thoughts about him. You kind of defended him.
I did.
But, do you guys think Carson Wentz will get another chance in another team? Can he be I can't say face of the franchise anymore. Can he be at number one, the starting QB of another team? What do you guys think?
Number one starting QB? No. After getting a second chance to be a quarterback, I don't know what's going to happen. He might just be on the bench, maybe a backup quarterback. If he is a quarterback number one, he goes down a very far list on being quarterback number one. If I had to pick a team that might sign him, might, and I just don't think so, for the number one quarterback on their roster, it would be the Panthers.
Oh, wow. No, horrible.
Because we don't know what was the situation at the Colts. Was it the quarterback move that came from the owner, or did it come from Frank Reich? We don't know. That's why I kind of said.
No, Frank Reich is not going to take the chance and blow his opportunity again.
But again, you don't know. It was Jim Irsay saying, hey, get him off the...
I understand, but they weren't doing well as well with Carson Wentz there.
Well, I just threw it out there.
Yeah, completely. No, Frank Reich is not going to take that chance. Well, anyways, my opinion is that I don't think he ever is going to have another shot. I can imagine any NFL fan from any team just hearing that Carson Wentz is going to your team. Of all that you've seen him done with the Colts and with Washington, no, I'm sorry, guy, but that's it. Go and be a coach. I did have your back because I did see a lot of good potential from you in the Philadelphia Eagles, but you were getting injured so many times after that for me, the most precious thing for a player is for them to be available. So I don't think he's going to have another chance.
He could be a decent backup, but he is not a starter anymore.
I don't even think a decent backup, dude. He came back to Washington and he just stunk it up again.
Okay, but I would rather have, as a Cowboys fan, I would rather have him as a backup than, well, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was going to hear you say Cooper Rush. I'm like, what?
I think Cooper Rush is, no, yeah, it's just, it sucks for that guy. Because he did great things with okay. He did good things with Philadelphia until he got injured, obviously, right? That's kind of the turning point of his career, and ever since then it was downhill, and it really sucks because he had potential. He was leading that team to the playoffs. He did, kind of, until he got injured. And now he's borderline not even a backup? That's what people think of him?
Well, that's what I
think maybe his best option is to retire.
No.
Who knows, maybe look into being an analyst or a coach, right? But he can't even, I don't see any team to be a starting, not even with the Panthers. You were saying, Andy, that I think if I was Frank Reich, I would not even try and get him as a backup.
It's because you really don't know what went down there.
I understand.
It could have been Jim Irsay to say, get the hell out of my team, or it could have been Frank Reich. I don't know.
But let's just say it was Jim Irsay to get the hell out of my team. We saw him playing with the Colts. We saw him giving the ball in his own end zone to another player, right in front of him. Those are things that are unexplainable. And why would Frank Reich, going to the Panthers, his second opportunity as a head coach, even risk getting Carson Wentz back? No, you start fresh.
And you saw the very last, I guess, tape you got from him with the Commanders. He was not good at all.
Well, yeah.
It's just not gonna. I don't see him going to a team and being a starter. Not even a backup. It's just not good for him, and it sucks because I mentioned he was capable of being great until he got injured, and that sucks. So, do you guys have any final thoughts on that?
Nah, he should be a college analyst or something like that.
He's only 30. He might have a shot somewhere else.
He should take Brady Quinn's job as a college analyst, because Brady Quinn says some crazy things that also throws players under the bus, if he was like a Hall of Famer. So that's my take.
Yeah, Jet fans hate Brady Quinn. He can get fired.
Why don't we talk about now Miami Dolphins and their quarterback situation with Tua? We saw what happened with Tua and the Dolphins. They were doing great until Tua went down with a concussion. I forgot which game it was, but basically, in a very short way, he kept getting injured, getting concussions, and it was just not a fun season for him at all. I felt so bad for him. Scary injuries that were happening to him. So, should the Dolphins move on from Tua?
Absolutely, they should. The only problem is that you need a veteran in that team. because that's another team that's already ready to go. But it's going to be really hard because the other players that are available, it would be Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, or Garoppolo. But because of the injuries, you have to take off Garoppolo there because Garoppolo gets injured every season. So it's actually going to be Derek Carr or Rodgers. So you have to get away from him because of his injuries.
Yeah, they definitely need to move on because he's been injured too many times. And even in college, didn't he break his leg or some horrific injury that he had to come back from?
I think it was his ACL. No?
ACL? Yeah, he just has too many injuries. And
then a hip injury, too.
A hip injury. Yeah, it was something like a hip. Yeah, you're right. A hip injury.
For his health's sake, I mean, he's been having concussion after concussion.
Yeah, I think if he suffers another concussion, I think the NFL is just going to probably just cut the cord on it. They don't want another bad incident to happen.
Well, the NFL, I don't think they can do that for him. That's very controversial. But the team can move on from him, and that's what we're saying.
Yeah, I think this is his 13th injury in 5 years. That's a lot of injuries.
Yeah. Now, do you trade him or just release him?
Business-wise, I would trade him, but I would really have a hard talk to him if I really care for the kid. And it seems like he's just getting injured left and right. And if he wants to have a fulfilling life, he needs to retire, honestly. Look at Luke Kuechly, the linebacker from the Panthers. He was an amazing player, one of the best linebackers that I've seen in a long time. And he had to quit because he wanted a long living life. And I don't mind if Tua does the same thing.
You also have to think about his contract too. Getting paid quite a bit. What was it, like a 4-year deal?
I'm not quite sure, honestly, what's his contract situation is.
I just know that he signed the contract with the Dolphins and he's getting paid a lot of money. So it's also the factor of what team is willing to risk that amount of money.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's
the health of him.
It doesn't seem like it's a lot though. 4 years, $30 million deal with the team. Is he still? I think he's still in his rookie contract, honestly. Or I might be mistaken because for me, a 4-year, $30 million deal with the team, including $19 million signing bonus with $30 million of it guaranteed, with an average salary of $7 million. This is weird. No, this is his rookie season, man. Still, I mean, his rookie contract.
Correct.
Still.
He's still in his rookie contract.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
So they're probably gonna move on from him.
Whoa. Yeah, for sure.
But he got his $30 million minus his agent fees and everything. Let's say that he keeps a good $20 million. Depending what he can do for after maybe as a coaching or something. But I don't know. It's pretty hardcore.
Right, he got drafted in 2020, right? So he's got one more year left with the 5th-year option.
Yeah.
He's gonna be asking for some money, no?
Yeah.
Or what do you think from his perspective, do I ask for a lot of money? Because it's kind of already shown that he when he plays pretty good, right?
He played well in Buffalo and the Colts. So yeah, he does play pretty well, but he gets injured every single. He got injured twice this season, or it's insane.
No more, I think 3 times.
He got into an ambulance.
At the very least, too.
Yeah, I think they should.
I think he's still in improvement mode.
Improvement mode?
I think he is still.
No, I think he proved that he can be a great quarterback, but the injuries are a huge setback for him.
Yeah, I just don't know. He's played well against good defense. If you say Buffalo, Andy, and Buffalo was not a good team.
They went to the playoffs, so any team that goes to the playoffs, most of the time they're pretty good.
Okay.
Is at least good, yeah.
We say so.
Before we end this episode of this podcast, I just wanted to say a rant of mine. I know that I did that last week with the Cleveland Browns, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts that I believe the Cincinnati Bengals should pay Burrow now, this season, and as quickly as possible, because you do have other players that are coming up that are going to be wanting to get paid. Herbert is going to be wanting to get paid. And then and down the line, we're going to have also Trevor Lawrence want to get paid, even though he's on his 3rd year going. So I think if Cincinnati Bengals wants to succeed and just pay him what he needs to get paid right now, because later on it's just going to be he's going to have to get paid even more than those guys. So just pay him now so you can have a successful future for the team.
Absolutely. I think it definitely needs to come in before the Lamar Jackson contract, because once that comes in, it's going to be, if he gets what he wants, and that's going to be larger than the Deshaun Watson one, the market is in trouble. The quarterback market is in trouble.
How pissed would Lamar Jackson be if Burrow gets a $250 million all guaranteed.
Pissed.
But I mean, Ravens can be like, dude, have you gone to the Super Bowl? No, then
Yeah, no, for sure. And when would that be? Because their 5th-year option is next year, right? So
yeah, but you can extend them whenever you want, though.
But when they can offer a new contract is before the extension, right? Like they just won't accept the 5th year, so he can get a new contract.
Yeah, like if the Cincinnati Bengals just offer him a contract right now, like that 5th year is annulled. In other ways, it's dismissed, and he just starts his new contract.
Yeah, right.
Was he drafted the same year as Tua?
Yes. Yeah, that was 2020.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, and especially because there's a chance that Lamar Jackson might even get traded. We don't know yet, but that's gonna buy the Bengals a little bit more time.
For now, it seems that way.
Yep. Yeah, it's that it is a smart thing to do to not accept that 5th year and just go straight into paying him the big money.
Yeah, look what happened to the Cowboys. They just waited and waited on to pay Dak, and other players were getting paid, and it just kept increasing and increasing.
Yeah, now they got Pollard on that franchise tag,
probably,
and then they gotta pay Micah Parsons soon-ish. Kind of, yeah. That's a headache to think about their whole salary cap scenario with the Cowboys over there. Yeah, no, it's gonna be a smart thing for the Bengals to do it, so I think they should for sure. But do you guys have anything to say?
No, that's all. Good episode.
That's all. All right, yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode of Football Tailgaters. We appreciate you guys listening all the way through to the very end, and we hope to see you guys interacting with us on our social media, which is Football Tailgaters or Football_Tailgaters on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you guys again for listening. We'll see you guys on the next episode.